So today we have a new video format that I'm going to be experimenting with. Basically, it's going to revolve around one-on-one training, and we'll be covering players' perspectives so that I can help you understand the PIP or help you understand some of the flight mechanics that you may be doing yourself. If you want to participate in something like this, just make sure to check out the description and join us in the Discord. Now, I apologize for the beginning of this video as it is a little bit choppy, and I think it has to do something with a new program that I'm experimenting with to allow me to draw on the screen so that I can help convey some of these instructions. That being said, I thought the material was good, so let's get to it. Finn has a style where he constantly spins, so he'll constantly do these kind of loops coming through, and you'll see it as he kind of starts to stabilize.
Is he just like up and down strafing pretty much to bounce his rolls?
Yeah, he's rolling and up strafing. You can see the trail for a minute. It did like this. It's same thing. Yeah.
It's like a golf ball kind of bouncing around, sort of, but it's just more revolutions. Okay.
So this is where you don't want to be. This like 700, 800, 400 meter range is no bueno against his style, because all it is that it's a corkscrew, and then it's harder to hit that the farther away we are from the target. So you want to push Finch. You don't want to leave him this distance.
Yeah, because otherwise he'll just corkscrew duel you to death.
Yeah, and he'll be winning the netcode advantage basically. Yeah, see how you're kind of trading him with him by doing the exact same thing. Like you have to do the same thing to keep up that aim, and you do, or else it's like impossible to hit him. But you don't have to roll match him. There's an alternative, and you kind of did it like in part of this video, but you weren't able to maintain it. So right here, you're closing the gap, and basically what's going on is right now we have the PIP in the middle, right on top of his ship, which means he's neutralized. Neutralized meaning relatively, you're both moving through space at the exact same amount of time and distance. So what you're trying to do is here is a good area where you apply your forward thrust so that you can get closer to him. But as you go forward, this PIP is going to want to separate in whatever direction it's closest to. So you have to match your strafes. So right here, we see that you're down strafing. So if you were to go forward here, this PIP would go from here to up here. So what you want to do here is as you go forward, instead of down strafing, you up strafe just a little bit so that we can keep this neutralized as we get closer to his ship.
Okay. So are you saying try to predict where the PIP is going to move?
Yeah, you have to predict where he's moving and where the PIP is going to move because of your inputs. So let's look at this. See how he's just, so he's constantly doing this when he's medium range. So what's going on with the PIP is it's going to go up and down, and we need to have that in mind. So as you see right here, we have Carl going up and left. So what's going to end up happening is the PIP is going to go from here and work its way down this way. And it's going to keep going this way because, again, he's doing this loop. The reason we want to close the gap is because it minimizes how much that PIP can separate from his ship. See, he kind of stopped there and just did barrel, so we didn't have any, but there it is. You saw how the PIP went kind of in the direction he was twirling. So you have to stay close to him. If you go to this range, it ain't gonna work. Now let's go over Lunos, and this one is great because here you can see how you do it. So we're doing the same thing here. Obviously, Edo doesn't spam. He just does a corkscrew every now and then. He rotates, he moves around. He's good at changing directions. But what's going on here with Lunos, who's fighting Edo, is he's relying a lot on rolling. So what's going on... Oh, this program does not like me to have my mouse thingy on top. Oh, it's not letting me put it... There we go. So what's going on here... is he's redirecting the whole time. And we see it by the PIP adjustments. Like once you get your nose on him, he starts to drift down in a different direction. So the minute you rotate your nose to his new PIP location, he's gonna start going to another direction. See there, he kind of did a juke. And let's look at that again. You'll see the PIP kind of, it comes in, it goes out. Here he's bringing it in, still coming in, and now out. And I know this isn't because of your inputs, because if we look at this again, look at the strafe bar here. You see how you're going up and right? Now you're going right, which is neutralizing it. Now you're going down right, which is extending it because you're pushing away from it. Same here, we're going straight down, which is extending this even further, so you're causing even more separation. Here you're up strafing, so now it's coming back down. Now what he's gonna do is take advantage of this. Because it's so close to the center of the ship, it allows him to move again. You're still neutralizing. And again, this comes back to chasing the inertia. And what I mean by that is you're both traveling this way in space. So this pip is going in that direction in space. And because he's ahead of you here, so if we were to look at this on a ship, like pretend these two lines are ships and we're both going up, he's here and you're trying to go to where he is, but you're both traveling in that same direction. So because you're both traveling in that same direction, you're gonna take more shots than he is. And that has to do with the netcode and how it functions, basically. So now that you've neutralized, you're still holding up and to the right, even though you're rolling. So you were holding up, which was moving you. When you were holding up, it was moving you in this direction. But because you rolled, now you're strafe inputting to the right. So now you're still continuing this direction, which means this pip is gonna go even further this way and you're helping him do that. So unless he does something different, he's gonna keep traveling in that direction. So for example, if we side strafe and this separates and he up strafes, that pip is gonna start doing this. And you saw that little, you saw when he rotated, he's up strafing. So you saw how it did that to the pip, how it made it bounce that way. And now he's corkscrewing it around, but he stops his direction and goes another way. Make sense?
Yeah.
So how do we stop this from happening? The biggest thing is people are fishing too often, which is what you're doing here. You're kind of just nosing on the whole time. So right here, down strafing, you're pitching up. You're comfortable with your nose position, so you stop to let go of your strafes because you're like, oh, I'm comfortable here. Let me stop and let go of strafes. But that's a bad idea because now we have a neutralized pip, which means it's in the center, which means it's very easy to redirect. So if you're putting zero input and you're letting him do all the work, that pip can go wherever the hell he wants. So you have to control that. And the best way to control that is apply a strong strafe. The best thing I like to do is once we're neutral like this, I like to push forward to close the gap. And then once I'm starting to inch forward, I start to push either to the top right, to the top left, bottom right, whichever one you want. Pick one and push it. You want to do tops because they're more powerful, so you can lock them. But as soon as you start pushing, what's going to end up happening, like if I start strafing up and to the right, what's going to happen is his pip is going to come down this way. And now because I'm pushing so much force in this direction, no matter what inputs he's placed, his pip is not going to wiggle as much because I'm locking it into a position and it requires him more energy to do the same. So see how now he's moving it this way, right? So right here, if you had just, instead of up strafing, which up strafe is good because you're going to start pushing this down, which would have made you a little bit more evasive. But what you also want to do is go forward really hard. And here you have no forward input. And the reason we want forward is because forward, when we have the pip off center, it will establish the orbit for us. So if I were to go forward here, your ship would be traveling in this direction. And this pip would start coming towards us in 3D space. Not too much because we're pulling away, but it changes the speed at which you travel towards them. And you want a high speed because a high speed will lock this in place and will allow you to trade hits. And if you engage that speed before he does, he's going to be behind the game on the netcode side of things.
So if I just would have pushed forward and just reset it, I probably would have been able to wrestle the fight a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Like here you're down strafing, so you're constantly pushing away, right? Mm-hmm. So you're always putting yourself at a disadvantage because he's going up this way according to the trail and the pip. The pip correlates the exact same thing. And I don't know where let me see where you're traveling to. So yeah, you're all traveling in this direction, right? So he's going in that direction. He's still going in that same direction that everybody's traveling, but you're pulling down on it. So what are you doing? You're decelerating. And because you're decelerating, you're going to take more shots.
Okay. Because I was trying to worry. I guess my main worry right now is firewalling because I have a tendency to do that if I'm not watching. And I know sometimes if you can keep your speed pretty low enough to where like you could still use boost and get acceleration, it makes your dodging a little bit more effective. And just by the way he was moving around, I was having a bad time trying to keep up with him. So I was like, I know I'm not going to win him in the aim fight. The best I can do now is just try to maneuver as best I can to get away from his position. But I keep pushing the pip away like you're saying, and it costs me.
Yeah. And the reason he's able to do that again is because you're not locking him. You're not putting any inputs that lock him in place. You're constantly nose chasing.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's a good... I think you had a good clip here where you did do properly. Let me see. I would love to have an example. So see how you let off the forward here? Like you were... Which is good. It's not necessarily bad because you don't always want to do forward, right? But like here you're kind of up and left and you're reversing on the forward, which means the pip is going to go absolutely nowhere, which allows him to keep the same direction of travel, which okay is okay, but I would just want you to understand the pip better. And you're downstrafing, you're constantly neutralizing, which is fine, but we don't want to neutralize in a straight line because it seemed like your intent was to get closer to him by neutralizing him, but you're doing it in straight lines. Like you're never adding two at the same time, which you don't always have to add two. There's a way to just add one, and I'm going to go over that.
I think ideally too, this might have been, I could be wrong here, but from what I can tell, at least from when I reviewed the clip, I think it was mostly, I was letting roll kind of do, like, I thought roll was helping me, like, drift in different directions instead of using your strafes to move faster. Because by the way he was coming at me, I wanted him to blow me first instead of me passing him. Because it was like you're saying, I was too busy trying to keep up with him in terms of nose position.
Yeah.
Sorry to choose for a joke.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask something.
No. He said he'd let the other guy blow him. So,
yeah, I thought the same thing. See, right here you did it. This was good. Right here, you push through. You were reversing here, but you're gonna see when you start going forward. Right here. Boom. You see how the pip starts coming down?
Yeah.
And the reason it does is because his pip is down here and your nose is kind of up here, at least when you initiated the forward. So it's basically like you're up strafing, so it's gonna push down even more. But that's okay. What would have been better here, if you had your nose in a better position, right? As you were approaching him, like let's say this is him here, and we're in a first person view, right? So what you want to do is you arced like this. You went forward and you went straight. This is a top-down view, which is fine. But what you want to do is more of a this. And then what happens is when we like go forward here, if I were to let go forward, which is okay because he's coming towards us, and up strafe and add some roll, you would have done this arc coming towards him at a higher rate of speed than he is. That locks his pip in a like degree angle. So like let's say he's here and let's say his pip is this. When you do that maneuver, it locks his pip down here. And it makes you very hard to hit because you're causing a curve while he's going in a straight line.
So in terms of strafe input, it should have just been up and right strafe in this case? Or up and left, actually?
It could have been right. It could have been just forward. It depends. I'd have to see it like play out, right? Because it's hard to say. But because like here, we can't say. But right here, where the pip is here, you want a right strafe to push this pip. So the right strafe would have caused the pip to go here, and then you let go of right strafe, and then you just up strafe. Because now that the pip is here, up strafing would cause it to do this. And then as you roll to match that change, because you're pushing in his direction, you're accelerating in a curved line while he's accelerating in a straight line, which is no bueno for him.
Because he'll come off as flat. Okay.
And you do it right there. Like you see it, like right here, you see how he's flat, but because you weren't in a position to do that and you didn't push this corner that you're coming around.
Yeah.
Like you didn't push this, you kind of like got here and you're like, holy shit, my nose is not on position. If you had preemptively pushed it, he wouldn't be able to push past you. He would have been locked like down here on your screen.
And just to clarify, when you say preempt, you mean like pre-nose him?
Not necessarily pre-nose, but you didn't expect the change. So right here, he's coming at you, but you're not. See how you're focusing on aiming at him, and he's coming. Like, this boy is speeding. Like, you know he's gonna be in your belly in a minute, but you're so worried about getting nose on that you're not focusing on what maneuver needs to be applied to stop him from doing that.
Okay.
And see, once you get out of this position, or like once you guys merge, you go back into this wobble nose trading stuff because you're not adding any inputs. Like, if you look at your strafes here, like, there's nothing going on. You basically tap him every now and then to try to neutralize it, but he's basically pushing ahead the whole time, so you're always chasing it. So while because what happens with movements is when we're the ones in control of the movement, like, let's say I'm him, and the pip it would be the same. If I was in his shoes, I would see the exact same pip. But let's say I'm him. What I'm going to be doing here, right, is he's coming in this way. We see the trail right here, so he's coming this way. He's probably going to slow it down and maybe curve a little bit, and then he's going to go back down this way. Or this way, who knows, whatever direction he decides. So the reason he's able to do that is because you're not applying anything. You're flat, so you're basically a stationary rock. Like, sure, you're both moving, but he's doing the maneuvering while you're just floating through space.
Okay.
You have to counter push him, or else he gets to do stuff like this to you. If you had strafed up and right and looked down, you would have caused more flatness for him, because if you see his trail, he stopped his ship in a straight line. So if you had gone up and done that little curve thing we were talking about, he would be a sitting duck down here and he'd be eating more shots.
Okay.
A lot of this, John, strategy is like figuring out where they might be moving, or watching where they're moving, and then moving our ship into position to counter their movements.
Correct. You're not always trying to close the gap. Sometimes you can't control that, and you have to be okay with it, and you have to just think, how do I keep him from getting into that position without my nose being there as well? So when we were talking earlier before I started this, the whole explanation that Gondor gave, I like how he explains it. This pip, so, okay, the more we separate from the ship, the faster we're going, basically, because we're both relatively pushing away from each other in a sense. But let's say I wasn't pushing away here. Let's say I was pushing to the right instead of down and to the left, right? Because right now you're separating. But if I was pushing to the right and his pip is here, what would happen is, if we're accelerating at the exact same rate, this pip would not move from here. It would be locked right there in that position. Now, when you start to increase your speed more than him, then the pip starts to come back towards his ship. So, like I said, you don't want to chase into the inertia because you're going to need more shots. So we're not trying to chase. We're not trying to give him that advantage. We're trying to match his advantage. So instead of going towards him faster and him speeding away from us faster, and becoming neutral, what you do instead is you match this. So this becomes your new relative motion. Like, forget his ship. His ship doesn't matter. If we make it relative, and what I mean by that is, let's say, how do I explain this for you? This is the pip's travel range, right? We want to match our speed so that the pip no longer changes distance from here to here. There's no more travel. And this becomes your new zero. So even though we're moving, this is zero if we want it to stay there. And now the goal is, what inputs do I have to move, not to adjust the pip all the way over here, but how do I move it to move right here and then maybe here and back? We don't need such huge movements if we think of its current position as a relative zero. And what I like to do here is, because again, remember, the more energy, the one thing that always holds true, the more separation there is from the ship to the pip, the more energy we require. So if we think of like engine output, we need more engine output to like move it when it's here.
So in other words, the more separated, the more boost you have to spend to get it to go back.
Correct. Or the less tricording and bicording you want to do. Because when we mix our inputs, we lower our Gs. And you'll see here we're at 11 Gs. So we're not allowed to push harder than 11 Gs of force. But if I were to let go of this and let go of this and only do up, how many Gs does the Gladius get? I think like...
It's that bottom number that tells you what the highest is.
Oh, you're right, yes.
That number changes in that now.
You're right. So yeah, it would be like 20, 22 Gs, whatever the heck it is. It's something pretty high for the up strafe on the Gladius.
I just know up strafe's like your strongest one.
It's actually
Oh,
side
sorry.
strafes. Side
Oh,
strafe
it's
is
side
actually
strafe,
strong.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Bicord
sorry.
and upstrafe is the same. Like tricord and forward are the same, but they're not tricords aren't worth it. Yeah.
I think it limits your speed though, because what's going on, you gotta think, like, even though it is the same, right? Like in relative G-force strength, it's not the same because we're going in this direction too. Well, I can't draw in 3D space, but we're going in Z-axis too. We're going straight back.
Yeah.
So you're losing some of that energy to a useless axis that we don't want to change. What we want is just pure up so that this pip can start pushing this way. Or at least down.
So if someone extends like massively, what's generally the thing to do then?
Don't push forward, let go of everything, and only up strafe. And the reason we do that is because when we're really far, what ends up happening, and this is the circle strafe, right? So his pip is here on the left or his pip is here on the right, whichever the hell it is. And when I up strafe, what ends up happening is the pip goes down. So this pip would maneuver down as we go up.
So do I roll match him and then up thrust, or?
Correct.
Okay.
If you roll match and you start rolling with the pip, what I like to envision is, you see this Gladius here? I like to pretend that I have a pip on the side of the wing, and his pip would be in front of this in 3D space, right? So here, let's give you a better view. So right here, his ship is here, his pip is here. We're gonna flatten out a little. Let's say this is his left wing. So his pip is on his left wing. I like to imagine that I have a pip here off to my side that is on my right wing. And what I do is I roll so that I match this pip at all times. So as I strafe up, the pip is gonna go down, which means I need to roll to cause this pip to curve with me.
So instead of chasing the inertia, which is generally what causes those trades, you just want to let go of everything but the up and just let that do the work for you.
Yes, and then you roll to cause the curvature, because if we don't up strafe, we just cause more and more separation, where we want it to stay kind of tight to the ship. The closer it is to the up position, so again, let's say, forget him, forget this pip, but right now the pip is here, but let's say the pip was up here. When you start doing your rotation around, the closer this pip is up here, the more neutralization we're doing, right? Because we're up strafing into it. So we don't want it up there. But if you have the pip somewhere here, what happens is when you continue up strafing and rolling and you keep the pip here at this like 45 degree instead of 90 degree angle, it'll start to decrease the radius, because what we're doing is, when we're doing that, is we're causing this big circle and then we're narrowly bringing it down little by little. And this is what you want, so that you can establish a tight circle at the nose of the ship.
Okay.
And just to clarify, this is strictly just up strafe and rolling.
Just up strafe and roll. That alone causes all that. Now, you don't always need to do that. You could do a reverse roll, right? So up strafe is the most common thing, but here's a perfect example. He's kind of like this. And he's causing something to cause, because I don't think it's you. You're going down and left. No, I think it is you. But let's say it's not. Let's say
it was me, because I kept extending it.
Let's say it's not you, and let's say he's causing something to make the pip go this way. Okay, then why up strafe? If we up strafe, and let's look at a graph of like inputs, right? So if he's up strafing in this direction, and we are trying to push it up in this direction, if we up strafe with him, we just neutralize and make it flat. Instead, if I go down instead of going up, what's gonna happen is he's gonna shoot up way up. Me pushing this down pushes this further up. So if I down strafe and reverse corkscrew here, I'm gonna get that circle strafe in this direction without having to put as much energy, because he's already pushing it up for me. Me pushing down increases the strength in which he's going up.
I get you.
Okay.
All right, any more questions on it? I think that pretty much sums it all up.
In this, wait. You said, can you go back a little bit to the frame? Like you would roll right here, and up strafe.
And I would roll. I would strafe up and roll left.
Okay, left, yeah. Because right, yeah, they would go under.
Yeah, right would go the other way, and then it would actually, I think, go this way, right? All right, let me think. If we're going, yeah, it would neutralize and come back around this way, because we'd be strafing up into its direction.
Mm-hmm.
Which that could be a good evasive tool too. But the issue with that too is like, all right, how do you nose position that? Because like if we up strafe in this direction, as we roll left, right?
Yeah.
Like this
You
would
have to readjust.
this would come this way, which means our nose would have to look this way. So
Yeah.
a good technique here would probably be you roll up strafe, roll again, and then you would be facing that direction, and then you could down strafe to like then push the pip the other way. It would be kind of, I don't know that it's worth it because of this distance, he'd be shooting the shit out of you, but at close range, that might be a nice juke.
Yeah.
Maybe you probably in this particular instance, if you want to do it, you're better off resetting because he's just too close.
You're both close here,
Like,
so
just blow
this,
past him. Yeah, blow past him, just reset and start. Because at this range, I mean, all he has to do is just turn his nose and he's already got a target on you.
now that we've covered some of the theory behind all the movements, let's look at a player that's trying to understand how to apply the circle strafe correctly in combat. So yeah, you're orbiting, but a circle strafe is not so much in orbit. We're not trying to go around them, we're trying to stay in front of them and create a circle in front of them. It's not a sphere, it's a circle. So you orbiting a target causes a sphere. You have to think two-dimensional rotation, and that's why
so
we call it
side
the circle
strafe.
strafe.
Kind of like this.
So side strafe initiates it because now see how you put the pip to the side?
Yeah.
So that initiates it. Now you have to make a strafe direction and roll to consistently hold it. So it goes back to where I was saying, like, we have it on the left of the ship, and now you have to pretend on the left of your ship is a circle, or I mean another pip. So here you strafe up, and you see how it goes down? So now we have to roll to keep that pip on the side at all times.
Kind of like doing
And that's it. Keep your nose on them. If it strays away, you lose your relative target. So your nose establishes the relative target, and now it's maintaining the nose and doing the inputs. Because see how you're kind of going like now kind of to the other side? You shouldn't. So here you're side strafing.
Yeah.
So you're not creating a circle, you're creating an orbit, which again is a sphere.
You need a slow roll, continuous roll.
You can do this side strafing, but you have to roll. And then if you side strafe, the pip has to be above you.
But what else? Like it's the how it's being described to me that I'm having issues with. It's like, what exactly are the inputs that I need to do to get it in?
Okay, that's the biggest thing. Forget what inputs I need to use, because that doesn't exist. People move. So you have to use the information that you're being given, which is the pip. Forget the side strafe. We don't even need the side strafe. Like, side strafe is just like if you want to do more, right? But like, you could just do up strafe and roll. You don't need side strafe at all.
Okay. Oh, so I'm literally just doing like this.
But you're still side strafing.
Yeah, it's just me being stupid.
And yes, you are just doing that, but it's how much of that you need to do, and the pip gives you that information.
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of like doing. I guess the horizon trail is pretty good for that.
Nope. Horizon trail is not relative to your target. Your nose needs to stay on the target at all times, which is behind you right now. And you need to up strafe and roll.
That's just corkscrew though.
There, yeah, you're doing it right there. A circle strafe is a corkscrew. The difference between a corkscrew and a circle strafe is a corkscrew, you're advancing forward. A circle strafe, you're not moving. You're staying where you are.
Try doing it with the crosshair on the pip. Try
Oh,
to
I
track.
see. I get it now.
Yeah, that's the easy way to do it, because yeah, you keep the pip vertical.
Yeah.
Yep, that's perfect. And as long as, again, that pip stays to the side like that, you're doing a circle. And see, you are moving through space because he's moving through space. But the pip is telling you, hey, yeah, because you're keeping me here and you're up strafing, you're actually making a circle around him.
Your left and right strafe will decrease or increase the radius of the circle.
Yeah. And again, this can be done in any direction, but you have to understand the pip and have to analyze it to see what you're doing. So see, now you're doing it to the right and it's going to the right. So if you wanted to make it tighter, you would right strafe. If you wanted to make it wider, you would left strafe.
Okay. I get it.
See how you're putting the pip above him? Don't do that. Leave it to the side. Up strafe and roll. Very, very slight roll, because he's moving too, so you won't be able to move the pip too much. There you go. Too much roll. See how you got it above again? Don't let it fall up. Leave it on the sides. Get good at aiming at a diagonal. Up, no roll, up, up, up.
I'm trying to do like a couple things.
Try again, up, just up, just up, just up. Nope, no, nope, don't roll, just up. There you go. See, you don't even have, well, try to keep your nose on. But see here, you barely have to roll because he's also doing a circle. Don't do what you think you need to do what the PIP is telling you to do. If that PIP is going down, you need to roll. If it's staying on the side, you don't need to roll. It's already doing it for you.
Yeah, I wasn't focusing on that one. I was just trying to win the fight, to be honest.
Exactly, but see that it comes back to that. Like, you gotta abandon that. Like, don't try to win. Like, you got someone who's doing something to you, figure out how to maneuver. You're not gonna learn if you keep trying to beat a guy with the same strategy. Right here, forget winning. Forget winning. Up strafe, keep that PIP on the side. Don't even shoot at him. Forget about shooting. Up strafe, keep it matched. Forget shooting him. There you go. All right, slow down. Don't slow down. If you start blacking out, what I want you to do is roll 180 degrees and then up strafe again. And you see how we're at 900 meters and right now not a single shot is landing? Because you're doing a circle. He's got to push the gap.
But you see like he's at 500, he can hit you.
See how you're above now? Like, don't let it stay above like that. Get it to the side. Roll, put it on the side. Just figure it out. Roll it till you get it on the side. If you can, side strafe.
Good,
See how he kept neutralizing you and bringing you to the middle? So you got to counter that. You got to push to the side. That's where side strafes happen or where they matter. If he's bringing you to the side, push to the other side, push it back to the side. Don't let him control where it lands. See how you're able to do it though, or like understand that once you stop shooting at people, because like you can't do both, bro. You got to focus on one or the other.
Yeah, I was just about to say in this fight, so I was trying to like win, and you're like, don't win, and just focus, you know.
Yeah, you got to forget it, bro. Forget the ego of wanting to win. And trust me, I experienced it a lot, bro, because obviously people know who I am, so they're like, oh, let me go dunk on this. But like, I abandoned it, bro. Who cares? Like, I need to figure this out. That's going to be it for this video, guys. And before you go, just let me know how you feel about this video. It's definitely something I'm experimenting with and eventually do want to bring into maybe some live sessions on Twitch. But comment down below. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.